The massive viewing screens of valor, 9 flickered to life across every corridor, every training hall, every cafeteria on the station. The announcement everyone had been waiting for scrolled across in 17 different languages. The warrior trials will commence in 30 days. Registration opens today. Marcus Webb looked up from the floor he was mopping, water dripping from his worn cleaning tool. Around him, cadets erupted in excited chatter. A group of Crithian warriors, massive, 7-foot-tall beings covered in natural armor plates, roared with anticipation. Their species had won the trials 3 times in the last century. Near the corner, a cluster of Elkar insectoids clicked their mandibles together, their compound eyes gleaming. They moved like liquid shadow, fast and deadly. Marcus was just a janitor. He had been cleaning these same hallways for 7 years now. Every morning at 0500, he arrived with his cart of supplies. Every night at 2200, he left through the service entrance. The cadets barely saw him. To them, he was part of the background, as unremarkable as the gray walls or the humming lights overhead. He was 40 years old, average height for a human, with graying hair at his temples and calluses on his hands. His uniform was simple, gray coveralls with maintenance printed on the back. Nothing about him suggested warrior. Nothing about him suggested anything special at all. That evening, after his shift ended, Marcus walked to the registration office. It was tucked away on the lower levels, far from the grand training facilities where elite warriors prepared. The clerk at the desk was a Rendathi, a species known for their bureaucratic precision. Her skin was pale blue, and her forearms moved efficiently across multiple data screens. Name and species for registration, she said without looking up. Marcus Webb. Human. Her hands paused. All 4 eyes swiveled to look at him. You wish to register for the warrior trials? Yes. You understand this is a competition for the galaxy's finest warriors? The mortality rate is 0 due to medical technology, but the injury rate exceeds 90%. Contestants include champions from the Crithian War Academies, Velkar assassin guilds, and Thorian battle clans. I understand. She studied him for a long moment, then shrugged. Your species designation confirms you meet the sentience requirements. Registration fee is 200 credits. Marcus paid. The clerk processed his application with the same efficiency she gave everything else. He received a confirmation code on his personal device and left. 3 days later, the roster was posted. Marcus was in the cafeteria, cleaning tables after the morning meal, when he heard the laughter. It started small, a few Crithian cadets pointing at a screen and chuckling. Then others joined. Soon, half the room was looking at their devices and laughing. A human? In the trials. Look at this. Marcus Webb, maintenance staff. Someone check if this is a joke. Is a registration error? A Crithian warrior named Grafnor walked up to Marcus. He stood nearly 2 feet taller, his armor plates gleaming under the lights. You are this human? The janitor who registered. Marcus continued wiping down a table. Yes. Grafnor laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. You will die in the first challenge. Human, your species has no natural weapons, no armor, no enhanced strength. You are soft prey animals who somehow learned to build starships. Maybe, Marcus said quietly, withdraw your registration. Save yourself the humiliation. Marcus looked up at him. His expression was calm, neutral. I'll take my chances. The Crithian snorted and walked away, still laughing. Others joined him, sharing the joke. The human janitor thought he could compete with warriors. Over the next week, the mockery continued. Instructors assumed it was a mistake. Other staff members asked if he understood what he was doing. Even the station commander sent him a message suggesting he reconsider. Only one person didn't laugh. A young Velkar cadet named Tixid watched from the shadows as Marcus worked. She had seen him before, late at night when she couldn't sleep and wandered the empty corridors. She had seen him in the gymnasium after hours, moving through exercises with quiet precision. She never mentioned it to anyone. On the 20th day before the trials began, Commander Jathik found Marcus in a storage corridor. The reptilian officer was a legend, a veteran of 40 campaigns, scales covered in honor scars. "Human," he said, "I have seen your registration. This is foolishness." Marcus continued organizing supplies on his cart. "Respectfully, sir, I disagree. You will be broken in the first hours. You'll embarrass yourself and your species." Marcus finally stopped working and met the commander's eyes. "Then I'll be broken, but I won't quit." Something flickered in Jothic's eyes. Confusion, maybe, or curiosity. He turned and left without another word. Marcus returned to his work, pushing his cart toward the next corridor that needed cleaning. The arena floor trembled as 500 contestants assembled under the twin suns of Cavros Prime. Marcus stood in his section, assigned number 372. Around him towered beings that evolution had designed for war. The Crithians with their armored hides. The Velkar with razor-sharp limbs. The Thorians, bear-like creatures, standing 9 feet tall with muscles like steel cables. Marcus wore simple gray combat gear. No armor, no weapons yet, just cloth and determination. The first challenge materialized before them, a 3-mile obstacle course called the Gauntlet. Holographic barriers shimmered into existence, revealing walls that stretched 50 feet high, pools of dark water, gaps that required massive jumps, and sections covered in surfaces too hot for unprotected skin. "Begin!" The announcement echoed across the arena. The crowd exploded forward. Crithians hit the first wall, and simply climbed it with their natural claws, scaling straight up like it was nothing. Velkar moved like liquid, their bodies bending in ways that shouldn't be possible. Aquatic Rendathi dove into the water sections and disappeared, moving faster underwater than most species could run. Marcus ran at a steady pace. Not fast, not slow, just consistent. At the first wall, he didn't try to climb like the others. Instead, he stopped and looked around. Debris from previous trials littered the edges, broken equipment, discarded tools. He grabbed a piece of metal rod and a length of cable. In 90 seconds, he had fashioned a grappling hook. He threw it, caught the top edge, and climbed hand over hand. He wasn't first over the wall. He was somewhere around 200th place. But he was moving. In the water section, larger species swam with powerful strokes. Marcus couldn't match their speed, but he found floating debris, pieces of foam from damaged equipment, and lashed them together with his belt. A crude flotation device. He kicked steadily across, while others tired themselves with explosive speed. The heat section stopped many contestants. The metal surface was designed to burn unprotected flesh. Crithians with thick skin crossed slowly. Others wrapped their hands and feet in torn clothing. Marcus used a metal rod he'd kept, testing the surface, finding the cooler spots where metal joints connected. He moved across in a zigzag pattern, slower but taking no damage. By the halfway point, he had climbed to 150th place. The crowd in the stadium had grown quiet in his section. They watched this unremarkable human who refused to quit, who found solutions instead of using brute force. He finished the gauntlet in 47th place. Not spectacular, but he had beaten 453 competitors, including warriors twice his size and 3 times his strength. Grafnor, who finished third, stared at Marcus as they both exited the course. "You should have failed," he said. Marcus just nodded and moved to the recovery area. The second challenge began the next day. One-on-one combat in virtual reality against adaptive AI opponents. The computer would learn from each fighter and adjust its strategy. Contestants fought until they won 3 matches or lost 3 matches. Marcus entered the pod. The virtual world materialized around him. His first opponent was a digital recreation of a Thorian warrior. Massive, powerful, fast. The Thorian charged. Marcus dodged barely. The creature's fist missed his head by inches. He struck back. His punch bounced off the thick hide uselessly. The Thorian grabbed him and threw him 20 feet. The pod registered the impact. Pain receptors fired. It felt real. Marcus lost the first match in 40 seconds. In the second match, the AI Thorian was faster, more aggressive. It had learned from the first fight. Marcus lasted 30 seconds. The third match started. Marcus changed his approach. He didn't try to hurt the Thorian. Instead, he moved constantly, staying just out of reach. He watched the patterns. The Thorian always struck with its right hand first, always lowered its guard after throwing. After 3 minutes, Marcus saw his opening. When the Thorian threw him again, he twisted in midair and landed near a wall. He used it to launch himself at the creature's head, striking at the eyes, the only weak point. The Thorian stumbled. Marcus had found a vulnerability. He lost the third match anyway. But in the fourth match, he exploited that weakness repeatedly. The AI adapted, but Marcus adapted faster now. He won by making the Thorian blind itself trying to block eye strikes, then attacking its legs until it couldn't stand. The fifth match, Marcus won in 2 minutes. The sixth match, 90 seconds. 3 wins. He advanced. When he exited the pod, Tixith was waiting. The young Velkar studied him with her compound eyes. "You learn fast," she said. "Faster than you fight." "It's what I'm good at," Marcus replied. She clicked her mandibles thoughtfully. Most warriors here were raised for combat, born into it. What were you born into, human? Marcus grabbed a water container. "I was born into a species that doesn't quit." That night, the rankings updated. Marcus was 73rd overall. The mockery had stopped. Now, there was something else in the eyes of other contestants when they looked at him. Curiosity, and perhaps the first hint of respect. The third challenge dropped 200 remaining contestants onto a hostile moon. Red dust covered everything. Jagged rocks stretched for miles. The temperature swung from freezing at night to scorching during the day. Somewhere in this wasteland, a mechanical creature ran wild. Each contestant had to track it, capture it, and return to base. Time limit, 48 hours. No sleep allowed according to tradition. Most species needed sleep. The Crithians could go perhaps 30 hours before their reflexes dulled. The Velkar managed about the same. Even the mighty Thorians needed rest after extended activity. The starting horn sounded. Contestants scattered in all directions, using scanners and enhanced senses to pick up the praise trail. Marcus started walking, not running, walking. A steady, ground-eating pace that looked almost lazy compared to the others sprinting across the landscape. Graf Nor passed him within the first hour, laughing. "Still trying, Janitor? You'll collapse before nightfall." Marcus didn't respond. He just kept walking. 6 hours in, the fastest runners began to slow. Their initial sprint had eaten through their energy reserves. Some stopped to rest despite the rules against sleeping. Medical monitors would catch them and disqualify them, but exhaustion made people take risks. Marcus maintained his pace, 1 foot in front of the other. His breathing stayed steady. He drank water at regular intervals and ate nutrient bars while moving. 12 hours in, night fell. The temperature dropped 40 degrees in minutes. Contestants huddled behind rocks, shivering, trying to stay warm without stopping their pursuit. Some had caught the mechanical prey already and were heading back, but many were still hunting. Marcus had packed his gear efficiently. He wore layers. When the cold hit, he adjusted his clothing and kept moving. His body generated heat through constant motion. 18 hours in, he found a praise trail, tracks in the red dust, still fresh. He followed them with patient precision. 24 hours in, dawn broke. Other contestants were stumbling now. Their eyes drooped. Their movements became sloppy. The Thorians were practically sleepwalking. Velkar moved with jerky, unfocused motions. Marcus felt tired. His legs ached. His back hurt, but his mind stayed clear. He had done this before, long ago, in another life. 72-hour missions with no sleep. Endurance marches that broke other soldiers. His body remembered. At hour 30, he found mechanical creature. It was fast, designed to evade. But Marcus had studied its pattern. It ran in a wide circle, always returning to the same general area. He didn't chase it. He predicted where it would go and waited. When it passed, he activated the capture net and secured it. At hour 34, Marcus walked back into base camp. He was the 41st contestant to return. Not the fastest, but he had beaten over 150 others. The medical staff scanned him. Your stress hormones are elevated but manageable. Heart rate slightly elevated. But your cognitive function is normal? How long have you been awake? About 36 hours now, Marcus said. The medic, a six-armed Rindathi, checked the scanner again. That shouldn't be possible. Most species show severe impairment by now. Marcus just shrugged and moved to the recovery area. Tix had found him there an hour later. He was sitting on a bench, drinking water, watching other contestants stumble in. Some were carried by medical drones, unable to walk. I've been researching your species, she said, settling beside him. Her insectoid features were hard to read, but her voice carried curiosity. Humans are persistence hunters. Your ancestors ran prey animals to death across long distances. Days, sometimes. Marcus nodded. We're not the fastest, not the strongest, but we keep going. The academy records say you're a janitor, but you move like military. You think like military. Her compound eyes fixed on him. Who are you really, Marcus Webb? He was quiet for a long moment. I was part of Earth's special operations before I came here. 20 years of service. I retired when my daughter got accepted to the diplomatic program at Valor. 9. Took the janitor job to be close to her. Why didn't you tell anyone? Because it didn't matter. I was done with that life. I just want to be near my kid while she studied. He looked at his hands, scarred and calloused. But when the trials were announced, I realized something. I realized I missed it. Not the violence, not the combat, but the challenge. Testing myself, seeing what I'm capable of. Tixith clicked her mandibles softly. The others laughed at you. They did. They're not laughing now. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. No, I suppose they're not. That evening, the rankings updated again. Marcus had climbed to 41st place overall. 3 challenges remained. The galaxy was starting to pay attention to the human janitor who refused to quit. In the viewing stands, Commander Jathik sat alone, watching footage of Marcus's steady march across the moon. The reptilian warrior replayed the moment Marcus captured the prey. Patient, precise, efficient. No wasted motion. No panic. Just competence. Jathik leaned back in his seat. Perhaps, he said to himself, I have underestimated this human. The 4th challenge tested strategic thinking. Each contestant commanded simulated troops in a complex battle scenario. The AI opponents adapted to every tactic. Most warriors relied on aggressive frontal assaults. The way their cultures had fought for centuries. Honor demanded direct confrontation. Marcus took a different approach. He studied the terrain for 3 minutes before issuing a single command. Then he split his forces, sent a small group to distract the enemy, and moved his main force through a narrow canyon the AI hadn't defended well. He sacrificed 12 simulated soldiers to save 80. His AI opponent never saw the real attack coming. He completed the scenario in 11 minutes. The second fastest time was 19 minutes. The military observers in the stadium sat forward in their seats. One Krithian general turned to his aide. That human fights like he's done this 1,000 times. He thinks 3 moves ahead. The aide responded. Most of our warriors think 1 move ahead. Marcus advanced to 28th place overall. The pattern was clear now. Each challenge, he climbed higher, not through raw power, but through adaptation and intelligence. The 5th challenge changed everything. The trial of pain was ancient, designed by the Krithians 300 years ago. Contestants stood in isolation chambers while controlled pain signals were sent directly to their nervous systems. The intensity increased level by level. They had to complete increasingly complex mental puzzles while the pain grew worse. Most species tapped out at level 7. The record, held by a Krithian war master, was level 9. Marcus entered his chamber. The first level felt like a mild burn across his skin. Uncomfortable but manageable. He solved the puzzle, a simple pattern recognition test, in 40 seconds. Level 2 felt like being punched repeatedly. He completed the math equations required. 90 seconds. Level 3. Stabbing sensations in his joints. He assembled the 3-dimensional mental model they projected. 2 minutes. The pain increased. Level 4 felt like his bones were breaking. Level 5 like his skin was on fire. But Marcus had been trained for this too, years ago. Pain management. Mental compartmentalization. He built walls in his mind, put the pain in a box, and focused on the tasks. In the observation room, scientists watched their monitors in disbelief. He's at level 8, one said. His vitals show extreme stress, but his cognitive performance hasn't dropped. The Crithian record is level 9. Another responded. Marcus reached level 9. The pain was unlike anything the trials could legally inflict. It felt like every nerve in his body was screaming. His hands shook. Sweat poured down his face. But he completed the puzzle. A complex linguistic code that required translating 3 alien languages simultaneously, while the pain tried to shatter his concentration. The chamber signaled he could stop. He had tied the record. Marcus pressed a button to continue. What is he doing? A Velkar observer hissed. Level 10 activated. Marcus's body went rigid. The pain simulation convinced his brain that he was dying. Every instinct screamed at him to stop. His vision blurred, but his hands kept moving across the holographic interface, solving the quantum mechanics problem they had given him. He finished it. Level 11. Medical monitors showed his heart rate at dangerous levels. His body was in shock from the simulated pain. But humans had something most species didn't, an ability to override their own survival instincts when necessary, to push past what their bodies told them was impossible. Marcus solved the puzzle. His fingers moved slowly now, but they moved. Level 12 activated. Stop the test. Commander Zithik order from the observation deck. This is too dangerous. He hasn't signaled surrender, sir, the technician responded. Protocol says we can't stop unless he requests it or his vitals become life-threatening. Marcus could barely see. The pain had transcended physical sensation and become something else entirely. Pure neural overload. His body wanted to shut down, to escape into unconsciousness. But somewhere in his mind, beyond the pain, he found a quiet space, a memory of his daughter, 7 years old, falling off her bike. She had scraped her knee badly and cried. He had told her then, pain is just information. It's your body talking to you. You can listen to it without letting it control you. His hands moved, slowly, carefully. The final puzzle was a 3-dimensional maze that shifted every 5 seconds. He traced a path through it, making corrections when it changed, ignoring the pain that told him he was being destroyed. 43 seconds later, he completed it. Marcus pressed the surrender button. The pain stopped instantly. He collapsed to his knees, gasping, his body shaking uncontrollably. The chamber door opened. Medical staff rushed in. In the stadium, silence held for 3 full seconds. Then someone started clapping. Then another. Within moments, the entire arena erupted in applause. Even the Crithian warriors, who had mocked him weeks ago, stood and honored him. The announcement echoed across every screen. New record established. Level 12. Marcus Webb. Human. Previous record. Level 9. Tixith watched from the contestant area, her mandibles clicking softly. Impossible, she whispered. But it had happened. The human janitor had just rewritten 3 centuries of assumptions about pain tolerance and mental endurance. That night, scientists across the galaxy requested emergency studies on human neurology. Military strategists began reevaluating their assumptions about Earth's potential as a military power. And Marcus sat in medical observation, cleared for the next challenge, wondering if his daughter had seen the broadcast. 10 contestants remained. They stood in the ancient arena of champions, a circular platform 100 meters across. Holographic crowds from 1,000 worlds watched. The rules were simple. Fight until surrender or incapacitation. No time limit. No restrictions on tactics. Marcus had climbed to 8th place overall. He had broken 7 ancient records across the challenges. The galaxy knew his name now. But here, in the final trial, records meant nothing. Only survival mattered. The first match pitted him against a Velkar assassin named Kresh. The insectoid moved like smoke, faster than Marcus could track. Blades extended from Kresh's forearms, sharp enough to cut through steel. The bell rang. Kresh vanished. Marcus felt rather than saw the first strike coming. He rolled left. Blades whistled past his ear. He grabbed dirt from the arena floor and threw it in a wide arc. For just a moment, dust particles outlined Kresh's invisible form. Marcus didn't try to match the Velkar's speed. Instead, he made himself unpredictable. He moved in broken patterns, changed direction randomly, forced Kresh to keep adjusting. The assassin was faster, but speed required energy. Lots of energy. 20 minutes into the fight, Kresh's movements became slightly less fluid. 40 minutes in, the Velkar was breathing hard. An hour in, those lightning-fast strikes came just a fraction slower. Marcus was exhausted too, cut in a dozen places, bruised, bleeding, but still moving. At hour 2, Kresh made a mistake. Overcommit to a strike. Marcus caught the blade arm, twisted, and used the Velkar's own momentum to slam them into the arena wall. Kresh's exoskeleton cracked. "Yield!" Kresh hissed. Marcus released him immediately and stepped back. The crowd roared. His next opponent was a Thorian named Drakmor, 9 feet of muscle and fury. The creature could lift a transport vehicle. One solid hit would end the fight. Marcus spent the first 30 minutes just avoiding those massive fists. He didn't try to hurt Drakmor. The Thorian's hide was too thick. Instead, Marcus made the giant chase him, around the arena, in circles, changing speeds, stopping suddenly and forcing Drakmor to change direction. After an hour, the Thorian was slower. After 2 hours, Drakmor was panting like a broken engine. The big creature was built for short, explosive power, not endurance. Marcus finally went on the offensive. He targeted the joints, knees, ankles, elbows, places where even thick hide couldn't fully protect. Small strikes. Nothing dramatic. Just consistent damage to the same spots. At hour 3, Drakmor's left knee buckled. The Thorian fell. "Enough!" Drakmor growled. "You have won, human." Marcus helped him stand. The crowd had gone silent now. They were watching something they had never seen before. A human, soft, weak by galactic standards, defeating elite warriors through sheer refusal to quit. The final match was announced. Marcus Webb versus Commander Jathic. The reptilian commander entered the arena, scales covered in honor scars. For arms, each holding a different weapon, eyes that had seen 40 campaigns. He was a legend, and legends didn't lose. "You have surprised us all, human," Jathic said as they faced each other. "But this ends now." "Maybe," Marcus replied. "Or maybe it doesn't." The bell rang. Jathic was everything Marcus's previous opponents had been and more. Fast like the Velkar, strong like the Thorian, experienced beyond measure. The commander's 4 arms moved in perfect coordination, attacking from multiple angles simultaneously. Marcus bled. He took hits that would have knocked out most humans. Jathic's blade opened a gash across his ribs. A strike to his shoulder made his left arm go numb. But Marcus didn't stop. Hours passed. 3, 4, 5. Jathic was breathing harder now. Reptilian species were ambush predators, built for sudden, overwhelming attacks, not for sustained combat. 6 hours in, the commander's strikes came slower. His 4 arms, such an advantage at the start, now required more energy to coordinate. Marcus was barely standing. His vision swam. Blood dripped from a dozen wounds. But his feet kept moving. His hands stayed raised. 7 hours. Jathic stumbled, just slightly. His left leg shook with fatigue. Marcus saw it, but didn't press the attack. He was too tired himself. 8 hours. Both warriors could barely stand. Marcus swayed like a tree in wind. Jathic's scales had lost their luster, dulled by exhaustion. The commander looked at Marcus with something like wonder in his ancient eyes. "You will not quit, will you?" "No, sir." Jathic's weapons lowered. "Then I offer you an honorable draw. We have both proven our worth." Marcus's legs almost gave out from relief. "I accept." The crowd erupted, not in disappointment, but in respect. They had witnessed 8 hours of pure determination from both warriors. The final rankings appeared. Marcus placed third overall, but he had broken records that had stood for centuries. More importantly, he had changed how the galaxy saw humanity. That evening, Jothic found Marcus in medical. The human was bandaged head to toe, but smiling. "You are no janitor," the commander said, presenting him with a warrior's medallion. "You are what your species truly is, relentless." Marcus accepted the honor. "We don't have claws or armor or natural weapons. Commander, all we have is a refusal to stop." 3 weeks later, Marcus returned to Earth. Job offers flooded in from across the galaxy. Military commands, security positions, training contracts worth millions. He declined them all. Instead, he opened a small gym in his hometown. Above the door, a simple sign, Human Potential Training. When asked why he didn't take the prestigious positions, Marcus smiled and watched young humans train. "Someone needs to show the next generation what we're capable of. Besides, I've got a daughter to have dinner with tonight." Across the galaxy, military academies began teaching courses on human endurance. Scientists studied human pain tolerance. Strategists reconsidered Earth's position in galactic politics. And in a small gym on Earth, Marcus Webb taught children to push just a little further than they thought possible. Because that's what humans do. They don't quit.